Today is March 16th, 2015. The interview location is Harbor Road in Avon, North Carolina. My name is Sandy Jones Garrison, and I am interviewing Virginia O'Neill Scarborough, who currently resides in Avon, North Carolina. Virginia, tell me your full name, including your maiden name.
Virginia O'Neill Scarborough.
And how do you spell O'Neill?
O-N-E-A-L.
Scarborough?
S-C-A-R-B-O-R-O-U-G-H.
Where were you born?
Where was I born? Right here in Avon.
What year? Do you remember the year, or is it easier to remember your age?
Yeah, well, I was born February 13th, 1930.
February 13th?
Uh-huh.
1930?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm 85.
Did you grow up in Avon?
Yeah.
So this has always been your home?
Always, uh-huh.
Did you refer to Avon as Kennekeet growing up?
I think that was always called Kennekeet up until recently.
Did you call it Kennekeet growing up? And
I think I did.
your parents' names. Can you tell me your parents' names?
Frank and Ethel O'Neill.
And were they born here?
I don't know. I think they both was born here.
You told me you were born in Avon. Was there a clinic, or were you born in your home?
I was. I think they had midwives then.
So possibly you were born right in your home.
Probably was.
Do you remember where your first home was?
Not too far from here, up north end.
North End.
You turn and go up the road.
Okay, so you go on the main road, which is Highway 12, or?
No.
Okay, not that far.
Right here to the, where you after you pass the fire station.
Yes.
Then you turn and go up that way.
Is that house still there?
No. We had that 44 storm, and it washed across the road and busted up.
It lifted it right off the foundation?
Yeah.
And moved it across the road?
And tore it up.
And tore it up.
Yeah.
So what happened, where did your folks live?
They lived further down from the north end. We had Mommy a good sized trailer. And then when my sister and them moved home, why, they moved the trailer, and that's where their home is built now. And Mommy lived right back of it.
So the house that was washed away in the 1944 storm was the house you lived in?
Yeah. When we got married on December the 16th, why, his mother and father lived back of us. And we lived there. We was married December 16th. And he immediately went and got the lumber to build a house. And after we was married December 16th, I helped him with the house. And then we moved over here June the 4th. It was complete, paid for, and furniture too.
Where did your husband, Ralph, get the lumber to build your first home?
There was a freight boat that run from here, and that freight boat went and got the lumber.
It must have come from Elizabeth City.
Yeah.
Do you think Elizabeth City?
Yeah.
And is that where your furniture came from as well?
The guy down the road there, he sold furniture, and he had a book. You would pick it out of the book, and he would take his big truck, go up and get it.
Where was that business?
I think he bought his furniture in Norfolk or
Okay.
Elizabeth City.
And he, where was the catalog? Was it just in Avon somewhere, or like a little bit
No.
business?
He had the catalog himself. He would bring it to you to pick out what you wanted.
Can you just clarify one thing? I think I'm a little confused about the home on the north end that got washed away in 44. That was where you grew up.
Yeah. Mm.
When you got married, you moved close by?
Well, right down the road from where our house was. And then when we got married, we stayed over there with his mother and father for from December 16th to June the 4th.
Your husband, Ralph Scarborough, he was from here too.
Yeah, he was.
And what, do you remember his parents' names?
Celestial and Susie Scarborough.
Celestial, is that Celestial? Celestial?
I think he spelled it C-E-L. I don't know how he spelled it.
But you pronounce it Celestial.
Yeah,
And what was the other name?
he was Scarborough.
Okay, and that was your...
My father-in-law, that was Ralph's daddy and his mama,
And what was his mama's name?
Sudie.
Sudie?
Uh-huh. S-U-D-I-E.
Those are very those are family-oriented names.
Yeah.
You don't hear those very often.
You want to hear the name of the other brother?
Yes, I would.
He had the Papa Slatchel, and then Blucher.
Belucher?
Uh-huh.
Do you know how to spell that?
I don't know how he's D-L-U-N-C-H. I don't know how he's spelled.
But it's pronounced Bluncher?
Blucher.
Blucher.
Yeah. And then I think the one that had a decent name was his brother, Dewey.
Dewey. So your father-in-law, Ralph's parents, Ralph's father's name was Celestial.
Uh-huh.
His mother was Sudie, and then Celestial Scarborough had two other brothers, Blucher.
He had more than that.
Oh, he did, and Dewey. Can you remember them?
And Dewey.
Uh-huh.
And Walker.
Walker.
And Ignatius.
Ignatius?
Ignatius.
Ignatius? And did he have any sisters?
Two.
Two sisters.
Her name was Elizabeth, but everybody called her Sissy Teeny.
Sissy Teeny?
And then he had a sister named Arkansas.
Arkansas. Very unusual names. So these were your in-law families. Did your mother-in-law, did she have any brothers or sisters?
Yes, she had two brothers and two sisters, I think.
Okay. Do you remember their names? That's kind of I don't want to stretch your memory too much right now.
Let me see. Her brother's name was Saunders and Mitchell. They were Grays. And then she had a sister, a brother, Saunders,
Mm-hmm.
and Mary.
Mary.
That was her brothers and sisters.
So Sudie Gray, your mother-in-law, had two brothers, Saunders and Mitchell.
Yeah.
And then she had two sisters, and one of them's name was Mary.
Mary.
Do you remember the other one?
Evelyn.
Evelyn. Beautiful names. So Sudie and Celestial both grew up here.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, tell me about your family. Tell me about your mother,
Ethel O'Neill.
Ethel O'Neill. And how do you spell Ethel?
E-T-H-E-L.
E-L. She's E-L. O'Neill. Did she grow up here?
Yeah.
Okay. In Kinnakee?
Yeah.
Okay. And did you have any aunts and uncles? Did your mother have any brothers or sisters?
She had I don't think she had any brothers, but she had a sister, Margaret Haywood.
Haywood. Must be a married name. Your dad, so you told me, his name was Frank, and he was O'Neill.
Yeah.
Where did he grow up?
He grew up here.
Okay, in this area, in
Yeah.
Kinnakee. And did he have any brothers or sisters that you can remember?
He had one sister.
Sister.
That's all he had.
Do you remember her name?
Lucy.
Lucy. Well, you told me your mother, Ethel, was, she married your dad, Frank O'Neill.
Yeah.
What was your mother's maiden name?
Williams.
Williams. Did you tell me you had a sister?
I've just got one sister living.
Okay. What's her name?
Audrey Farah.
You have to spell that for me.
A-U-R-D-Y. Audrey.
A-U-R-D-Y. Audrey.
Yeah. Audrey.
And you had some siblings that have passed on?
Yeah, I had two brothers, John O'Neill and Roland O'Neill.
Were you the baby of the family?
No, I was next to my oldest brother.
When you were growing up, where did you go to school?
I had already finished school when they started the school to Buxton.
So you went to school in Kinnakee,
Yeah.
but on the ocean side?
No, it was about where the fire station is now. Might have been just a hair further down.
All right. And the fire station is on, let's see, what road is that on? But that's more on the north end. Is that what you would call the north end?
No, you had to pass the fire station. Is that chair
Okay.
on Harbor Road?
Harbor Road.
Yeah.
So the school was on what's now Harbor Road.
I don't know where I don't think it was named then.
It was just there.
Yeah, it was just there.
Was it everybody attended there? Whether you were in first grade or a high school
Yeah.
student?
Yeah.
So how many years did you go there? Did you graduate from there?
Yeah, they only had the 11th grade then. And I graduated in June and was married in December. And I had already got married when they started 12th grade.
Okay.
Now, the 12th grade only stayed here 1 year, and then they consolidated the schools to Buxton.
So at that point, so they only went to 11th grade, and then you got married, and that's when they started the 12th grade.
Yeah.
But you were already married,
Yeah.
so you're not going back to school. And then after that year was when the Buxton school was opened.
Yeah, and see, it was consolidated. It had Rodanthe, Silo, and Waves. And then on the north end they had Hatteras, Frisco, and Buxton. It was a good move.
It was? Why do you think that was a good move?
Well, the children, they knew each other and each other's friends. And to me that was very important.
Mm-hmm.
Now my daughter graduated down here
Mm-hmm.
from 12th grade. And she couldn't understand why they just had everybody almost in the same room. There was a big, I guess, room.
Mm-hmm.
And he sends me as if they had these doors that went together like that. And that's
Like bifold doors, maybe,
Yeah.
to separate the rooms?
Yeah,
And is that the schoolhouse in Buxton or the one in Kinnicky?
in Kincaid.
Kinnicky. And how many teachers?
I think one teacher taught about 3 classes.
Do you remember any of your teachers, Virginia?
Well, my main teacher was Mabel. She married down here, and she was from Point Harbor. She taught me almost my whole high school.
She did. Do you remember her last name? Mabel's last name?
Meekins.
Oh, she was a Meekins.
Yeah.
So she married a Meekins.
Yeah.
Oh.
I can't even. I know we had a teacher in grade school named Miss Parks.
Mm-hmm. And then when you got to the older years was when Mabel Meekins
Yeah.
took over teaching.
Yeah.
How many children do you have?
Yeah. I just had that one.
Janice?
Uh-huh.
And you said she went to school here in Kinnicky?
No, she went.
So that's right, because it consolidated.
Yeah.
So she went to the Buxton
Yeah.
school. What did Ralph do for a living?
Well, he was in the Navy 5 years, and then he come in and worked to the power plant down here,
Okay.
and that's where he retired from.
So he was in the Navy before he met you.
Well, I barely remember him until he did come home.
Because he was much older.
He was older, yeah,
You were married at 17?
17,
And how old was Ralph when you married him?
32, and he was the best husband that
Was he?
anybody could have.
How did you meet him?
He sent his cousin up to ask me if I'd go out with him, and my daddy wouldn't let me date anybody unless they come to the house
Uh-huh.
and pick me up. They didn't pick me up on the road or anything. And, well, every boy, every day, my oldest brother, he hated it, all of them,
He hated all of who?
my boyfriends.
Oh, he did?
But he liked Ralph.
He liked Ralph?
Yeah.
Well, he must have seen you.
He had seen me.
Mm-hmm. So he asked his cousin, was his cousin a Scarborough too?
No, she was his mother's sister's.
She got the two of you together.
Yeah.
But he had to come to the door first.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. What did your dad think of him when he first met him?
He said, he seems to be real nice. He said, but I'm not ready for you to go steady,
Uh-huh.
my daddy.
Because you were too young?
He just didn't think I was supposed to date until I was about 30.
So how long did you date before you married him?
About a year and a half
Oh, that's good. Yeah. And where did you get married?
in Elizabeth City.
How did you get there?
Well, he had a car, but we went on the bus.
Oh, okay. And did you have to take a ferry off the island?
Yeah.
So you got in the car, and then and the ferry took cars. Is that correct? You could
Yeah, but we left the car home.
All right. So you walked on the ferry?
On the bus was one of the bus that ran from Hatteras, the Midget Brothers.
So it was a bus service.
Yeah,
Midget family had a bus service
yeah.
that ran from Hatteras and took you on the ferry.
And then they,
How far did they take you once they got off the ferry?
to Madio. And then from Madio, we had to take another bus.
All right. So, and that bus would take you on up to Elizabeth City.
Yeah.
That's a long day.
I know.
How did he propose to you?
He said, I love you. Do you love me enough to marry me? It was hard for me to say, I love anybody. I said, well, ask me that a little later. But I knew right then he was for me.
Yeah.
The boys I met, I never fell in love, and I didn't know where I could fall in love ever. But he was very polite, and he was very caring. He made sure that nobody said anything concerning the girl he was dating.
Yeah. Sounds like a good man.
He was very good to me.
Mm-hmm. So when you finally said yes, did you get married right away?
About a month after.
Mm-hmm. And did you go get the license in Elizabeth City first? Or you got it and got married?
Then you could get it in the morning, and you could be married that evening.
So you took the bus
Yeah.
from a midget bus company.
Yeah.
You went on the ferry to Manio, then you took another bus from Manio to Elizabeth City, and you got there early enough to get your license.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then you got married that afternoon.
Yeah.
Did you have a honeymoon?
Yes, we went to Waterfowl, and we was going 5 days, because we wanted to be home by Christmas, because he told me that he always baked the Christmas pies. I didn't believe him, but he proved me wrong.
You did? That's right, because you got married December 16th?
16th.
Yes. So what kind of pie did he make?
I know he made a lot of sweet potato pies
Ah.
and lemon pies. And I thought to myself, well, when is your mother going to tell you it's time to bake the pies? That night we come, she said, well, I'm glad you're back, time enough to cook the pies. And he said, I wouldn't miss it. They would ask me to fix it. No, I could cook when I was married. I could cook anything.
So your mother taught you how to cook.
Yeah.
She taught you how to cook. So you were well prepared when you got married.
Oh, yeah.
But it sounds like he was a cook too.
Oh, he was a good cook.
Mm-hmm.
But I never liked him missing my kitchen. But I just didn't, I thought that was my job.
But you allowed him to make the Christmas pies?
Yeah, oh yeah. After we was married, we went down to the bank to change, put my name on the bank. And when we left, he said, I'll make the money and you do the cooking. I don't want you to work.
So what bank was, you mentioned you went to the bank to change your name over, your married name. What bank was here at that time?
It was called Planters then in Buxton.
Was that the only bank around?
As far as I can remember. And then we got this one after Avon. It's later, a lot later. And now that's changed 2 or 3 times.
Oh, yeah. So your husband likes to make sweet potato pies. Did he grow sweet potatoes?
Mm.
Did you have a garden?
His daddy did.
Did you ever have a garden?
I didn't, but he did.
Ralph did.
Yeah, before he retired from the plant down there. Why, he had collards. He had, if I'd known I could have had that picture to show you. He grew a collard as tall as I was. I mean, I'm not that tall. Well, I got a picture of him standing on one side of that collard and me on the other. And then he planted cucumbers, tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
He had up until he was taken sick.
Okay. All right.
And then he got colon cancer.
Sorry about that.
And he had heart trouble too. when we took him to the hospital, why, the doctor said, well, I can let him out in a couple of days. He said, but you can't take him home. He said, I'll have him put in a nursery home. I said, no, you won't. I said, he's got a home. And that's where I bought him. Dr. White was our doctor.
What was his name?
Dr. White.
Dr. White. Elizabeth City, or?
Yeah. And he was our heart specialist. And so when he come in there, he says, do you want to take him home? I said, I do. I said, he is not going in a nursing home. He's got a home. And he's got me. Well, the only thing I was worried about was causing me to have to do so much. But it was a pleasure doing it for him. I met the hospice lady would come. I'd have him bathe, dress, and shaved before she ever come. I said, he's mine, and I'm going to do it for him. Through luck, I got along good. But he died in 2002, and I had my heart surgery in 2007.
You had heart surgery.
Yeah, I had to have a bypass, and then they had to put a valve in.
Okay. Where did you go to have your heart surgery?
Norfolk General. That's where my doctor down here, Dr. Crabtree, sent me.
All right.
And now Crabtree's the only doctor I want to go to.
Yeah, you like him, don't you?
I do.
He's a good man.
He is. And he's got to be good to put up with me. I like to break appointments.
Yeah. Oh, you do?
And I got one for Thursday.
Wait, you like to break appointments?
I'll call. I can't go today. I make sure I don't have to talk to him. I talk to the secretary. And so Janice made my appointment for Thursday. And he said, tell her, no, she doesn't make this appointment. And I said, oh, I can't. My medicine will be out by then.
So did you go to the appointment?
It's this Thursday.
Oh, it's this week.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see if you make that appointment. But you can't cancel it, right? Because you need your medicine.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, when you told me about Ralph and you brought him home and you took care of him pretty much by yourself, did he pass away in his home?
Oh yeah. Valentine morning at 3 o'clock he passed. And every birthday he always got me a dozen red roses. Well, when Janice went to get the red roses, the 13th, Jenny told us this. Can I take them early in the morning? She says the truck is on its way with roses. Well, see, Valentine's was there.
That's right.
And so Janice said, yeah. And evidently she told her daddy that they would be there that morning.
Oh.
And that early that morning, she come in the flowers. And then Janice told us that Daddy passed away at 3 o'clock this morning. She said, well, let me give you the money back. Janice said, no, put the roses in there on the table. Says, she's always give her roses, and she's going to get them this year too. I was sitting there talking to him, and I knew he was going to see. He couldn't be resuscitated. I can't either. But I kept hold of his hand, and he kept like that. And then it began to get weaker. And I said, you don't have to go today. But he did. At 7 o'clock, I had a net called One Living Soul. And his brother, his youngest brother, said, I told you if anything happened during the night, please call us. I said, I didn't want anybody. I said, I had that night time with from 3 until 7 that morning. I said, and I needed that time with him.
That's beautiful.
He was a good husband and a good provider.
You were the homemaker, and he worked at the power company?
Yeah.
Well, when you were married, you didn't have electricity. So what did you do for refrigeration and lights? And
Well, we had what they call a little ice box, and a guy down that worked at the fish house down to the harbor.
yeah, at Tillman's,
Yeah.
the fish market.
His daddy, his granddaddy, delivered ice, blocks of ice. Always remember, you had to put a pan under where when the ice was melting, it would make sure it would go in that instead of in the floor. And the first night that the current was cut on, a girl from here was getting married, and they had these lanterns all up and everything. And in the middle of the wedding, the lights come on. That was an exciting wedding.
Your husband was probably one of the first men to work for the power company. Is that true?
Well, a guy from Hatteras, he run the one that had in Hatteras on an engine, and then they had a new engine to put in, and he hired Ralph.
And the engine was part of the power
Yeah.
the power company?
Yeah.
Where was the power company?
It, you know where Connor store is?
Connor store? Okay.
You see that the road that leads down to the light plant?
Okay, where it is now.
Yeah.
That's where it's always been.
Yeah.
So were you excited that you finally got electricity?
I was.
Did it change your life? Was it much different?
Well, as far as getting around in the house, it was very different. But we got our washers and our dryers
That's true.
and our refrigerators. And I often, when I go to bed, I lay there and think what our mothers did. They lived almost to the remaining of their life on a washboard. They had it rough, and now sometimes they'll complain too much work.
But you must have used a washboard too.
Oh yeah.
So how did you do that? You just got a big tub,
Yeah.
and then what did it look like?
Just as galvanized, and I had a washboard.
And you would take each piece of clothing, and how did you do it?
Just wash my board,
And then you had a rinse bucket?
then rinse bucket, and then hang them on the line. Now I never wanted a dryer, but my husband got one, and I said, I don't want it, I'm not going to use it. I like for my clothes to dry outside. He got it anyway. He went down to the harbor one morning. I was watching. And I took the clothes, put them in my clothes bag, and had them almost all on the line. When he came up, he took them all in and put them in the dryer. I wouldn't let him put the dryer in the house. He had to put it in the little house. So,
Was he in trouble?
no. No. He's the kind of person you couldn't get.
You couldn't get mad at him? So did you ever hang him out again? Ever?
No.
No.
Steve Nelson that owns a inn. I guess one morning they had to take me to the hospital. I didn't know he had a group that had signed up to come help him paint my house.
Oh, to paint your house?
Yeah.
So this is Steve Nelson,
Yeah.
who is the owner of the inn on Pamlico, which is in Buxton.
Yeah.
Was this recently?
Yeah.
Okay.
was, they took me up to the hospital there in Nags Head, and from there they sent me to Colony Ridge for my therapy. And when I come back, my house was painted, plus the garage. See, I lost everything in that storm. What was it?
Was it
Irene.
Irene? You
Yeah.
did?
Everything.
So Hurricane Irene, what year was that? I'll have to look that up.
I don't know.
I think it was 4 or 5 years ago. And were you in the house?
No, I was Buxton to a motel where I almost always went. But then Janice called me and she said, "Mother, are you okay?" And I said, "It is hot as the devil himself." That motel, the only thing they had air conditioning was they had a little apartment in it. And that was all.
This is the Buxton Motel that you were staying in
Yeah.
during the storm. Do you remember the name of that motel?
I think it was Cape Pines.
Oh, Cape Pines?
Yeah.
Okay, that's across from Connors.
Yeah.
So,
But she come up and got me, and I thought she was going to bring me home.
right.
And she turned down the other way. And I said, "Well, when are we going to go home?" She said, "I don't know." She said, "Right now, but no passing between Buxton and Avon."
There was water over the roads.
And sand.
Okay.
Well, when she finally could get up there, here, they never let me come up here until I moved back home. I stayed back to the inn for almost 4 months. That was the first time I had met him, him and his wife.
Mm-hmm.
And his wife was just as sweet as he was.
Yeah. His wife Sharon.
Mm-hmm. He says, "You can stay here until the kitchen, everything's fixed." I said, "No, I'm not." I said, "My back bedroom, dining room, and living room." I said, "I've already got Janice to get me a table to put my microwave on in the dining room." And so I come home.
Did they describe to you, Virginia, what damage was done to your
They,
home?
They had took some pictures. But Steve is still attentive. He, every now and then he comes up and brings our suppers, me and him both. He brings his and I to eat with me.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2 or 3 nights lately, since I had somebody living with me, he brings desserts up that night. But,
What a nice friend.
yeah,
You didn't lose your home, but it was badly damaged.
yeah.
Did the water come up into the home?
It come as high as that paneling is.
Which it looks like it's about 4 feet from the living room, so I don't know how much space is underneath your home. So you got hit pretty hard. Have you
Yeah.
thought about elevating your home?
Yeah, but I don't want it.
I think it would make it hard to get up all those stairs, I guess.
Wood.
But I'm glad that they repaired it,
Yeah.
because this is your home. This is where your husband and you had a life
And,
together.
I had a picture of my husband in his uniform. I had a one made for Janice, and mine was ruined. She bought hers up here. When I moved home, she had it on my chest of drawers, my room. And,
That's very meaningful,
yeah.
you know, to have that picture saved.
There's a lot I can remember of being married to him,
Mhm.
because no matter where we went on vacation, we took an album. We always fill it up with pictures we took when we were gone.
Did you lose those pictures from the storm?
Not all of them.
Did you lose all your furniture?
Very sick of it.
Oh my goodness. You told me that you and Ralph would take vacation. Do you remember where you would go?
Well, we flew to Albany, New York. And we drove from Albany to Canada. And then we flew up to Port Jefferson, New York. He had buddies that both was in the Navy together.
Was this when Janice was still living at home, or had she grown up and moved out?
Yeah, she was married when she was 18, and
So the vacation to New York was, you didn't have to worry about a child at home, you know?
well, she wasn't living at home. She, I think she was in Mississippi then, I think.
Well, what'd you think about New York?
It was too crowded for me.
Did you stay in a motel up there, or you did?
Now, when we went to Jacksonville, Florida, we went to the guy who was in the Navy with.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I had never met him or his wife, but we really enjoyed it. And we left their place, we stayed there about a week, and then the four of us drove down as far as Miami.
Did you get to the Keys?
Yeah,
You did? You got to the Keys?
yeah. And we've been down there almost every summer.
Oh.
And then they would come see us once a year.
Here?
Yeah.
What did you like about Jacksonville, Florida?
It was I liked it some, but I liked it in Orlando.
Ah, yeah.
Go to when you pass them statues of the president.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, the president, Kennedy, is sitting in that chair, and his foot is just like this going. And then we went on that boat. He was on a rail, and that guy says, "Would you like to steer?" I said, "No, I don't want to get wet." Okay, ladies, dump your head down. If you don't, your hair's going to be sopping wet. Everybody dumped, all the women weren't in water.
You told me that you were a homemaker, but did you ever work outside the home?
Well, one summer, I worked, I cleaned a cottage for people from St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
They had tried everybody, and they weren't done right. And they told the guy, says, if you don't get somebody that cleans it, we're going to move to another realty.
Mm-hmm.
So he come here, so I told him, every woman is out there cleaning. I said, now why can't I just do that more often? Well, he didn't okay it. And they said that people was willing to give me $100 every Saturday for cleaning it.
Wow.
But he wouldn't let me put it in the bank. He said, that's yours. I said, well, I write checks from hours. But I kept it. And that summer we went to Mississippi. Why, I bought my grandson one of those swings that I had everything in it.
How did you get your mail when you were, say, when you were growing up here? How did your mom and dad get the mail, and then has that changed?
They got mailboxes, you know, in the post office, and that's what they have now.
Do you remember how you got your mail when you were younger, when you were first married? Same thing?
Yeah, we had to go to the post office,
Okay.
ask for it.
Do you fish?
No, but I had to go fishing.
Because that's where Ralph was, or?
He built him a boat, and he bought him 10 set nets, they call them,
Oh, 10 set nets.
and then he bought him 10 crab pots. My heart would stop after my head. I wouldn't let him go out there by himself. And I was in the bottom of the boat more than I was sitting up there. I didn't like water. I don't like water.
Can you swim?
No.
Well, tell me about the boat he built.
He fixed a small one first, and then he fixed a big one. And after he died, well, I give the big one. Janice and Arlie didn't want it. And Ralph's youngest brother, he fished and crabbed a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, Jan, I'm not going to leave out here in my backyard.
Yeah.
And she said, well, so I said, your Uncle Maxon has been looking for a boat, a bigger one. Mm-hmm. And she said, if you want to give it to him, go ahead. Mm-hmm. So I gave it to him.
So this is the boat, the bigger boat. He built both of them.
Yeah.
But the bigger boat, I wonder how long it was. Was it like 19 foot, or do you remember?
I don't remember.
Was it a flat bottom boat?
Yeah.
It was flat bottom. And he built it so he could fish.
Yeah, and crab pots.
Uh-huh. But you didn't fish.
I just went.
You just went with him.
Yeah. He'd had a heart attack before that, and I didn't want him to go out there and have a heart attack. And so,
Yeah.
but just before he found out that he had prostate cancer, why, he quit.
Yeah.
He had the boat pulled up in the backyard.
That must have been sad.
It was. He wanted Janice and Arlie to take it when he was leaving. And she said, Daddy, we don't have anywhere to put the boat. And we wouldn't be using it. Mm-hmm. And she said, sell it. And he said, no, I can't sell it or anything like that. But,
The boat went to a good home.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
What are some good things about living here?
I have good neighbors. All my neighbors. The guy that stays across the road straight from me, his family is real good to me. Mm-hmm. And then the one that lives right down there is my sister's grandson. Mm-hmm. And his wife and 2 kids. He's got 2 of the sweetest little kids you ever saw.
So good neighbors and family.
Yeah.
Those are,
yeah.
That's what means something to you.
No, I have not met this over here. Now Janice has. Mm-hmm. But see, I can't go outside. Mm-hmm. So they're very quiet.
Mm-hmm. But you know they're there.
Yeah.
Before we conclude, is there anything else you want to add, or any special memories that you want to talk about? Anything that's special, or?
Well, I just thank God every day that I have good memories to think back at when I feel lonely, and if I can't sleep at night, I think about the trips we took, the things we done together. He always said we went everywhere together, but he went to the men's meeting, and I went to United Methodist Women. I think if anybody's got good memories after they lose a loved one, I think they've got the world.
Yeah.
If you got good memories, you got them to fall back on.
Yeah.
And I fall back on him all the time. After he'd been dead about 6 months, I still couldn't dream of him. So one night, I was really desperate. And I said, Lord, why don't you let me dream of him? We were married all that length of time. And that same night, I woke up, and it looked like him standing in that door. And he said, I'm not too far away. And that eased me right down. Now, Janice and Arlie, they gave us our 50th anniversary. They called one of our former pastors here. He remarried us. He said, Ralph, if you don't say I do anymore, think about it.
Do you remember who married you at your 50th wedding anniversary? Do you remember his name?
Yeah,
Who
Brother Fowler,
What's his first name?
Leon Fowler.
Oh, Leon Fowler. So Ralph had a chance to say no.
Yeah. But we had a good time.
Yeah.
And Janice, they had a reception. She'd had a regular cake baked, 3 tiers. And we did not know our grandson was going to be there. But he flew from Texas. He's working in Texas, and Ollie picked him up to the airport.
What's his name? What's your grandson's name?
Gerald.
Gerald.
He's a Carlander.
He's a what?
Carlander.
Carlander. Oh, that's who Janice married.
Her first husband.
Carlander.
Yeah.
So he surprised you.
Well, when the girl that was in the back for people signing as they come in, well, yeah, she's, now that your grandma and granddad back to us, get on that first bench on the very end. And when he come up there and hug us, he said, Brown said, who's that? I said, your grandson. He said, oh, when did you come? He says, that's why Ollie was running a little late. He had to go to Norfolk and pick me up.
Yeah. I see what you mean by having memories to fall back on. And
there's a girl, a lady from Buxton, that took all the pictures, and she had a little album about that. It was blue velvet and gold trim, and she took all the pictures, put them in that, and gave them to us as a gift.
You didn't lose that one, did you, during the
No.
2011 storm, Irene? You still have that one?
Yeah.
Those are nice memories.
The United Methodist women, they wanted to be involved, so they fixed side dishes.
The one here in Avon? The Methodist Church here in Avon?
Yeah.
How long were you a member of the United Methodist Women?
Janice was a baby when I first joined. How come I joined? Me and the girl was going to walk around the block that night, and her sister was going to serve refreshments the next night for UMW. And she says, and her sister says, give us a piece of that fruitcake. She said, be here to the meeting tomorrow night. I said, Carson, that was her. I said, Carson, you going to come down and help Ralph babysit in the morning, tomorrow night? He says, well, what y'all got planned? And his wife Beatrice, she said, well, I'll put it this way. We've been promised a piece of the fruitcake, and they promised to give us slush for you and Ralph. We wound up joining that night. And I've been a member ever since. So, yeah, I've been a member ever since.
Yeah, so if Janice was a baby,
So,
at least 50 years.
more than 50. And we went just to get a piece of that fruitcake.